All right. Looks like we're rolling live. What's going on, everybody? We're back again. It is Thursday, May 4th. May the 4th be with you, right? It's Star Wars time. And I'm Jay. We're here for another episode of Coffee and Cigars, our usual Thursday night hangout. And I started the live stream at 8, but it turns out that there's been a little bit of an issue, and it wasn't rolling, but I think now we're good to go. Oh, yeah. Okay, Brian, I got you. Okay, so I don't know what happened there, Brian, but come on now. Click. I don't know what happened, but like I started the stream, I had it all set up, and then I don't know what it was doing now. So we're back. We're back rolling finally. What's going on? So I had this. How did you know about the so Brian sent me a text message about the gas. Did you spell the gas and start running? How did you know about the gas? Did I say that somewhere? Anyway, like I said, most of the day was just kind of hanging out here because we had the BG&E wanted to change some of the gas lines. So basically they cut the gas from the main across the street and ran all new piping or tubing through the old existing 1-inch piping. They ran it all the way through and then put new black steel into the building, and then put the regulator outside, and then put the reconnected the meter. And so I was like, oh my goodness. And George says, what's going on? Evening, guys. Didn't see a notification. There was supposed to be a notification, and I had a whole another stream that I'd started at 8, and I don't know. So a good thing Brian texted me, and I was like, oh, we better restart it. So that's why we restarted. So glad you're here with us. So how does the audio, so before we get rolling, how does the audio sound for you guys? So I'm using one type of mic right here. This is what I'm using right now. And then I'm going to switch to this other mic, and I'm curious to know which one sounds better for you guys. So you let me know. This one, and this is the one that's above, right? And then this is the one that's on the camera. So the distance is a little bit farther from, one is a little bit farther, one is just not exactly as good. The point is not pointing at me as well. Okay, so Brian says the first one. So the one that we're on right now. So we'll stay with this one if that sounds the best. All right, that's good. That's good. All right, so did you guys do anything Star Wars related? Some of my friends were doing Star Wars stuff, and I haven't done anything Star Wars related. I'm just not into that. No, I mean, I'm into Star Wars, But a lot of people seem to be disappointed with The Mandalorian, And George also agrees with the first one. Okay, we're going to stay here. Mom, what's going on, man? Welcome to the show. How you doing? Good to have you, as always. Yeah, the one that's the first one, which is the one that's on the camera that I'm talking to you from right this moment, is actually a longer shotgun mic, probably a better quality mic than the one that's hanging above me on the other camera. The one that's hanging above me is actually the one that I take mostly into the field to shoot a lot of the videos on the main channel. But one of the things that I don't have for this setup is I can't really monitor it with headphones, so I don't really know exactly how things sound. So, yeah. All right, let's get to it. Because we're kind of running late. So we've got today from Cafe Estelar in Mexico City, this Chiapas APG Natural. I don't know what actually APG stands for. Aberdeen Proving Grounds. That's what here in Maryland, that's what we do. And so if you go to their website, estelar.coffee, I can't find this on their website. There is another Chiapas coffee on their website today, but it's a wash process coffee. Oh, all this running that I'm doing, I totally forgot to measure and grind it. So let me do that first. I'll be right back. We have to grind the coffee. Okay. I know I did a live stream of this earlier today on the main channel with this coffee, and it's pretty good, I think. So I'll show you the coffee itself, the beans. These are the beans. They're fairly lightly roasted. right? Like it's kind of, let's see if I can zoom in a little bit more for you. But, you know, it's a fairly light roast, which is, you know, pretty typical of modern specialty coffee shops nowadays. And this bag was actually given to me by one of my good friends, Sylvia Gutierrez, who is the head of the Specialty Coffee Association of Mexico. When we were down in Portland, Oregon this past week, she was like, hey, you want some coffee? I was like, yeah, I'd love to have some coffee. So she gave me one of these. And, you know, she's a dear friend. All right, let's have a look at the ground. This is the ground coffee. All right, good, good. It's nice. Now, what we're going to be using today is that, so when I was at the trade show, luckily, I ran into a friend of mine, Pete Licata, who was the 2013 World Barista Champion, and he has, over the last few years, he has created this new variation on a pour-over brewer called the W60. Now, I've got a couple of videos about the W60, and what's so different about it, instead of the V60 that has a, you know, a conical shape, this one has this bulbous shape, right? And also the Venturis are more twisted and more raised to give you more clearance for your paper filters. Now, one of the unique things about this brewer is that he has this mesh basket. And this mesh basket fits on top and is supposed to give kind of like a dual stage filtration. I've been trying to figure out how this really works and what the best way to do it. And actually, I shot a video with Pete at the show where he really demonstrates what he's doing. And to be honest, I haven't watched it since I shot it, so I don't really recall all the details. But essentially, you use this in conjunction with a paper filter to double filter the coffee and control it. So I tried using it the other day during the live stream that had no sound, and that was rather disastrous. Like, it was, I just don't know what I'm doing with it. So today we're going to try to figure that out a little bit more. So eventually I plan to do a video on the main channel about this. I just have to figure out how to utilize it. So I'm going to use these Hario #2 filters. These are from Japan. And they are kind of, you know, it's conical shape. They're really nice quality filters. And you just kind of open them up. And you could fold over the seam if you want. Actually, I should fold over the seam. Let's do that. And we're going to take that, we're going to put that in here, right? Now, we don't rinse the filters because that's just not necessary. Put that in there, add the coffee. We're just going to, it has nice aromas, kind of like fruit, like a little bit of red fruit, which is interesting. Earlier today, it didn't have this kind of aroma. It was more of a drier, almost papery kind of smell. This is definitely a lot more expressive, and I think maybe it's because of the grind may have changed. I don't know. All right, so what do we need? We need a scale. We're going to use a scale today because we're going to use a cup. Let's do it. There's a cup. Let's see here. Let's see. Make sure you can see that. All right, turn that on. We've got our bear timer. Maybe we'll do a little zooming in action here so you can see it better. All right, good. And we're going to get some water. That is just off the boil. All right, so let's get some brewing on here. We're going to start by adding about 85 grams of water just to hydrate the coffee. Now, one of the things I have to be careful about here is that it goes really fast through the filter. Like maybe that's enough. We'll stop at 63 grams. Like, it goes through really fast. And I kind of don't like that. Like, it's like, I don't know. I don't like it. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out. We're going to find out. I don't want to be too prejudgmental about it, right? All right, so that's probably flowed through. Now, if you look here, you can see there's still some. It goes much slower through the paper filter. Right? Oh, if you look here, you can see it goes much slower through the paper filter. All right, I gotta put that back. All right, let's add some more water. Now, this coffee was originally roasted in the middle of March, so it's not going to have. It's already gone through its degassing phase, so we're not going to see a lot of blooming happening, which is to be expected. Now, we are looking to see if we can get a 3.5 to 4 minute brew time. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to brew the coffee by keeping the water level right on top of it during the whole process. Add some more. So this kind of thing really is kind of new in some respects, in that, you know, this two-stage filtration is it's just different, that's all. You know, no matter how fine they make these mesh filters, it can never be fine enough, right? It's always kind of fast flowing. So I'm just adding water to keep it right at that level. We're about 2 minutes, 15 seconds, and at 190 mils of water, we're a little more than halfway there. But I think we're going to go over 4 minutes because there's still a secondary filter that we have to flow through, and you know, it's just slow. I gotta. What I'm going to do this week, maybe this weekend, is work on that video so that I can hear Pete's instructions on how to really utilize this and brew with it. And then hopefully I can finally get a better idea of really what I'm doing. And George says that he's finishing off the El Rey del Mundo by AJ Fernandez, debating on what's next. Well, I can only imagine an El Huense. Huh? It wouldn't be a Thursday if you didn't smoke a wise man. That's my thought. And Tony says the Trinidad Espiritu Series 2. Ooh, that's a good one. I like the labels on those. Kind of fun. No, which is also by AJ. Oh, there you go. You keep the cycle going. Of course. All right, so right now we're at 280 mils at 3 minutes 50 seconds. So we're obviously going to go way over our time, but that's all right. We'll see how it goes. Like, this is going much slower than I anticipated. And I went fairly coarse on the grind today. Maybe when Rusty comes in, he can give us some pointers. Rusty got one of these a year ago. So Pete brought him one last year. So, which the crazy thing is that, you know, Pete lives in Australia. He's originally from Kansas City, Missouri, but now lives in Australia and designed this while he's living in Australia. And we kind of have to wait for him to come here to get them because it seems that it's very difficult to get these in the United States, even though they're made in Japan. All right, we're getting close to our target here. Whoa. 3. I'm just going to pour it all the way. $350. There we go. $350. 5 minutes. We're still rolling. Gosh, this thing is very. And Tony says that he's smoking the Espinosa Laranja Lancero. Excellent. And of course, his Diet Cherry Pepsi. Excellent choice on that. Excellent choice. Actually, it's the classic choice, right? All right, so I think that The coffee looks like it's flowed through the first filter. Let me turn that a little bit. So you can see here that the secondary filter is still flowing. It's still, doing its thing. One of the things that I find when separating coffees out is that, when you try to you do this double filter thing, the paper filter always gets clogged. It's always slower because all the super fines get through and it just clogs up the pores on the paper filter. Whereas if it's all together in here, it's just kind of held in matrix, right? And that when it's suspended in the matrix of the different particulate sizes, it doesn't clog and it can flow fairly well. I'm not really sure what we should be doing with this. It's that little bit, it's taking a long time. If I was a patient man, it wouldn't be a problem. Like here's the thing. So right now we're at 7 minutes, right? 7 minutes. Like this is one of the problems. It's difficult to use something like this in a commercial environment because, man, 7 minutes. It's like there is some level of desire for expediency, right? And that's actually reminds me of something. So I don't know if you've seen on the main channel last week, the last 2 weekends, I released 2 videos on a place called Ko'ana Coffee in Mountain View, Hawaii. The first week, 2 weeks ago, was the original video, really short, but 7 minutes. And then the second video was a really in-depth deep dive into the mind of Brian, who owns Ko'ana. And, one of the things I thought about Ko'ana that was really interesting, he takes the time, right? He takes the time to spend with you, regardless of how long the line is. Like me, despite of the fact that, we want to give our guests a very high quality experience, there's also that feeling that we have to, how do we provide that high quality experience while also trying to manage a volume of business, right? But this reminds me of Brian in that, this kind of pace kind of would fit with what he's doing. And Brian wants to know, is Dave Knopf listening in tonight? Dave, are you listening in? Are you out there? Is anyone out there? All right, so we've got a little bit left to go through. Let's see if we can do something to expedite this process. I don't know if that's really helping. Maybe it is. The ribs on the interior of this are pretty high, so perhaps if I can centrifuge it high enough, it'll force its way through the sides. Although, it doesn't look like the volume is receding. Well, maybe it is. It looks really like dark and cloudy. That doesn't look okay. We're going to stop there because I've just had enough. This has been how it's been for the last couple times using it. That basically, I just get to the point where I'm like, all right, I've had enough waiting for it. We've made now 9 minutes, 20 seconds. Too long. Get rid of this. Put that here. Move this out of the way. Oh, I forgot my glass. Anyway, let's give it a try. This is the Cafe Estelar from Mexico City. Oh, it's soft. Smooth. It's got nice, like medium to light to medium bodied. Pleasant. This is where I start to, it's got a brightness to it. It's got some kind of fruit, but not really. Like when we're smelling the aroma, the fragrance, it kind of had this kind of berry-ish fruit. It doesn't have that in the cup. And I wonder like how much of that is being affected by this long brew time. I think that it's just that, I don't think we're getting I don't think we're getting as clean a flavor because of the brew method. And that's not to blame the brew method, because the fault lies on me, because I really don't know how I'm doing this or how I'm supposed to do it. So I'm going to have to experiment with that more to figure that out. All right. So, gosh, spent enough time talking about this, but it's nice. It's nice. So far, so nice, size, soft. No complaints about it. But time to move on to our cigar of the week. So let's get our humidor of the show. Show humidor up here. I'm going to open it up. I've got a little baggie of small cigars for smoking. Oh, here we are. The Aganorsa leaf Corojo Toro. There it is. There it is. We're going to get that. Put that away. Oh, and let's do the we wanted to do the check, right? We always do the check. Look at that. Oh gosh, cigars are getting killed. All right, so we've got, still look at that, still pliable. Now, no doubt there is a lot more graininess here. Corners, grainy, almost kind of solid grainy, but still very pliable throughout the center. I mean, we're still talking September of 2021. It's nearly 2 years. We're 2.5 years from the time that Rusty gifted this to me, and it's holding humidity like a mad dog. Like, that's crazy holding of humidity. All right, so let's get our grading form. This is the Toro, the Gran Toro. I should write that down. Gran Toro. And let's get this out of the wrapper. Out of the cello. It's a nice, like, beefy cigar. This is 6 by 58. So it's a pretty meaty, thick cigar. I kind of dig that. So let's do some. Okay, let's do that here, and then we'll start there. Okay, and then thirds would be. I'm going to say that's a third, and that's a third. Yeah, that looks about right. Yeah, we'll go a little bit there. Okay, those are our third markers. And then let's now have a look at the wrapper. Let me zoom in a little bit more for you. Well, that's about it. I'm going to say we're right about there in the wrapper area. So it's a pretty wrapper. Right? It's a little bit rough, but pretty enough. Nice tobacco, dark leather, or leather kind of coloring. I dig it. Is it going to focus? Are you going to focus? There we go. Let's do some smelling. Ooh. This is an enticing aroma of light barnyard, a little bit of hay, a little bit of manure. I'm still always kind of wondering, like, why in the world do we like the idea of manure as an aroma in cigars, but we wouldn't like to have it, rubbing on our bodies. George says that Tupperware is so much more efficient than a tabletop humidor. I've switched to purely Tupperware. Oh, nice. Yeah, I mean, it's this one here is testament to how great they really are. I'm really, really surprised at how well it has been working for nearly 2 years now. All right, let's go to cutting. I think that the lettering is interfering with the focusing. So Cigar MTX cutter. All right, there we go. We're going to need our little. I want to have we'll do some cold drawing. There is some nice sweetness coming from the cold draw. Yeah, Dave and John, I don't know if you guys have brought this tonight, but That 58 really has a lot of girth. It's really like a big, like, and it feels in the mouth. It feels big, like man. The resistance is good. The draw is nice. There's a sweetness. Very appealing. Very appealing. All right, let's do some lighting time. Oh, the light's pretty easy. All right, good. What's going on there, my brother? How you doing? Welcome to the show. How you doing today? The Mad Mofo is with us. We are smoking the Aganorsa leaf La Validacion Toro Corojo, Gran Toro Corojo. We're just starting off really nice. Really very good. Good smoke production, pleasant flavor, lightly spicy, good complexity. It's so far at the outset, it's not one of those really punchy cigars. It's just got a rich, complex flavor so far. So quite a pleasant beginning. All right, let me not go too fast with that. See how it tastes with the coffee. And Brian says, if you spend a small fortune on a tabletop humidor, it'll only need care every 6 months. A plastic tub isn't sexy, even if it's clearly more. Well, yes. I mean, there is a lot to be said about what you're saying. You know, let's say you get a really nice one. Like, let's say the classic of the nice tabletop humidors would be the LE Blue, right? Like really gorgeous LE Blue. I mean, it's a conversation piece. It is a piece of art, a piece of furniture, something to put out and, you know, be seen. And if you happen to have like an LE Blue or similar, it's a piece of it to end for others to envy, right? So that's definitely part. And I think that if they're really well made, you're probably right. They will probably last. The humidification will probably last for quite a while. Now, I personally never had one, so I don't know about that personally. But I think, you know, I mean, there's arguments for both. Certainly, if you have the means to go that route, why not? And Tony says, they don't make Mannings anymore. Oh, yeah, they don't make Mannings. So, Tony, you're still in the business. So is there anything now that's in that realm of like between Manning and LE Blue? Like, are there still good manufacturers of like really serious humidors? I mean, I imagine Daniel Marshall would be considered one of those guys, but I just don't want to ask them for a cigar and they pass me a. That could happen. George, he's calling you out, George. Why is this lingering? I got the fan on blast. It just lingers here. I don't know what's going on. Tony says, Daniel Marshall supposedly builds a good box of the Ashton Executive. Other than that, I don't know. I mean, I think he's always been renowned as an excellent humidor manufacturer. Okay, so it's starting off really good. Like, it's different than last week's Tuxla. It's not that. But it's good. It's enjoyable. I want to puff on it more. The flavor is milder, right? It's a milder, kind of medium bodied. There is complexity, but it's kind of soft, right? It's a softer flavor. It's not a sharp flavor. It's soft, it's rounded, it's complex. It doesn't give you like pronunciation of individual notes. Like it's not like typical Nicaragua black pepper, or like cinnamon or something like that. This is just kind of like, again, we're back to this kind of cigar that's more of a melange of flavors that kind of blend together. George is right, but damn it, it's a plastic good. You don't have to get one. You don't have to get one if you don't want one. I mean, I've been to your house. As nice as this Tapador is, it doesn't match your decor. Like you would not be able to put this in your living room and match along with that. Like your cabinet, yeah, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. So yeah, get yourself a nice one. He is, I just have no reference, and he's a human maker of the rich and the shameless. Which none of us are. We're not rich, neither. Well, we're not rich. Certainly maybe shameless, though. Well, see, I'm starting to go too fast because you can see that it's kind of getting this uneven ring. So I'm going to put that down, take a break with it. Actually, I forgot something else. So hang on for a moment. Let me go grab one more thing. All right, back again. Needed to get a glass because for the next thing we're going to do, this past month I've been working on this little project. So you've heard me. I know I've talked about these Decopon oranges, the Shiranui oranges that I first tried in Sao Paulo last June. And I was waiting until January for them to come around because they only come around here in the United States between January and March. And Brian says, my blue color house can easily complement a plastic container filled with cigars, but no thank you for staying. Anyway, so I had a bunch of them, and actually I froze a bunch of them as well. But I wanted to utilize them, and so I was thinking, oh, what can I do with these, and how do I froze a bunch of them after I peeled them because I want to use them for shave ice this summer, right? When I was in Tokyo back in 2019, I happened to be there at the end of May, so it's pretty warm, starting to get warm, right? Because they have weather like we have here in Baltimore. And I went to these places that they call kakigori, which are basically shave ice houses there, but they really do it a different way. Like I kind of did some research, some of the really, really nice ones. I went to this one called, it's near Kayaba Coffee. I don't remember the name, but you walk in this place and they've got all these crazy flavors, but they make the flavors from the fruit. Like they're totally like different than what I used to do. And this one was a 3 orange blend. And they put this big mound of shaved ice and they ladle on this melange of like oranges. And I was like, oh my God, man, it looks so good. I didn't have that when I had the strawberry one. But I was like, I got to have that. But you can only eat so much in one day, right? It's really difficult when you go places. And so I thought, I'm going to save these and mix them with the other oranges so I can have my own melange this summer. But I took the skins and then shaved them down, not shaved them, but, grated them down and then mixed them with vodka for the last month. So they've been like sitting in vodka for a month because I wanted to make orangello. And didn't I do that? I did that on a live stream, I think. I think I demonstrated how to do it on one of the live streams. I think it was on YouTube. Tony says, the evenness may have nothing to do with you. My validation burned wonky also. Oh. Wow. That's something. Okay, let's keep going. So I was reading about different vodkas over the last couple of years, right? Like, I heard one vodka came up a few times called the Popov, and it's one of those like kind of vodkas, cheap. You can get like 1.75 liters for like, I don't know, like $10. But they said that's really great because it's really clean tasting. And what is vodka supposed to be? Vodka is supposed to be clean tasting. So why spend $30 when you can spend 10 and get twice as much? And that's what I did. So I bought some Popov. I took the decoupon, I shaved it, I put it all together, and then let it sit for a month. And came up with this decoupon orange cello. And then I took it and mixed it with sugar to give it the right depth and complexity. And so now we're going to go and explore the decoupon. So I made some ice cubes. If I can get them out. And I've been keeping it on ice ever since I made it a couple days ago. It's probably too much. There it is. Decoupon. Oh, is it gonna focus? It's gonna focus. There we go. Sort of focused. Oh, let's go here. Now let's taste. Let's taste. Now, first of all, the nose, man, beautiful orange nose. Like I'm actually excited now. Like, oh. I mean, nice and like orange flavored. The flavor is really lovely. I was reading some recipes on how to make limoncello to do this, right? So the process for making limoncello is essentially, well, the process for making orange is basically limoncello. And I think all the cellos you can make in this way, cherry cello, apple cello, whatever cello. But once you have infused the vodka, in order to get the flavor to come alive, you have to add sugar. And a lot of people will put simple syrup. But I didn't want to dilute it that much because I'm only using Popov, right? And so, because Popov is probably, 80 proof, if I was to use simple syrup, that extra water in the simple syrup was going to cut down the proof. Now, I don't know if you so I just added sugar. I just added straight sugar to the mix, to the vodka, or to the infused vodka, and then let it dissolve. Now, one of the nice things about sugar is that it's fully hygroscopic, means that it will, if you put into like alcohol or water, it will dissolve regardless of the temperature. A lot of people want to tell you to heat it. You don't necessarily, you can heat it to make it melt faster, but you don't have to do that because you can heat it, but if you want to utilize it right away, you still got to let it cool. So and Mark is with us. What's going on, Mark? Love the overhead cam. Is that liquid more viscous than the original vodka? And are you just using zest? Yes to both. Just using the zest. You really want to try to not use too much of the white part because they say the white part gets bitter. I took the other side, the rest of the Popov about 2 weeks after and made this. So this is essentially the same thing so that I have more volume. And as you can see, there's a little bit of white here only because I couldn't get it off because it was kind of drying out by the time that I was doing it. But you want to try to minimize the amount of white rind and stay only with as much of the zest that you can. And I just kind of shake it around every once in a while. Now, unfortunately, I can't shake it too much because the seal on this is kind of loose. So if I turn it over, it starts to leak out. But, this one was done on the 14th of April. Started on the 14th of April. So I'm going to continue for another 2 weeks, and then I can make the rest of it. Now, to me personally, the amount of sugar to be used in this is kind of shocking, right? Like, oh yeah, so actually I'll show you here, since we're asking about the viscosity of it. So this is just the vodka. Right, this is just the vodka. Let me zoom out. So as you can see, it's relatively vodka in viscosity. However, with this the sugar, it's a lot thicker, right? You can see the difference in viscosity with that. That's strictly because of the volume of sugar. Like, there's a ton of sugar in this mix. So I found some calculations that said that for every 45 grams of liquid weight, or 45 mils of liquid weight, 16 grams of sugar. And I didn't really think about how much that really was. And then basically I put probably 4 pounds of sugar into 750 milliliters or so of infused vodka. So yeah, it's super simple. Like, I kind of want to like make all kinds of cellos this summer. Maybe some strawberry cello, cherry cello, tomato cello. But it's really quite nice. Now, this is the Decopon, which is the special orange. Maybe I'll try with the regular orange and see how much of a difference, if any, that'll give. Too much talking, starting to threaten to go out. Replace that jar of dried out steel with the rubberware. I should try it. Those are IKEA. I don't know if they're good for like really truly canning. I just kind of bought them because I thought they were kind of cool looking. I did finally open into a jar of my strawberries that I had made into jam over the summer. Like, I didn't grow them. I bought a bunch of really nice strawberries probably last June. Then made a jam, canned them, and I finally broke into one of them. Oh my gosh, I'm really surprised at how good it was. I was like, oh, this is actually, I really like, when it comes to strawberry jams, I really like Bon Maman as a product. I thought these were better than the Bon Maman. They're different. The flavor is different. Like, I don't remember I probably have to look at my notes, but I don't recall what variety of strawberries that I used last summer. It was a locally grown one. And after eating that first jar, it's like, I need to make more. And it's shocking how, like, the Bon Maman jars, right? I basically got 3 jars out of a field case of strawberries. Which just isn't enough. All right, so I think I need to retouch, because all this talking, I think the burn around the edge of the cigar has lost its touch. So let's do a little more relighting. Just want to make sure that it's good to go. It is a very soft flavor, in my opinion. Like, well, good to have all of you here today. Thank you for tuning in. I always appreciate you guys hanging out on Thursday night. Oh, darn it. This is just unacceptable. But at least I got a good countertop, right? Look at this countertop. This is pawdawk wood sealed with water locks. And I had never heard of water locks until I was building this, and I got the wood from the wood guy here in Timonium. You know, that crazy guy. He's got I think he must have worked in radio at some point because he's got the radio voice. But he got gorgeous wood. So I bought this and I was like, so what should I was thinking about sealing with like polyurethane or something. He's like, oh, no, you should use this water locks. And I was like, I never heard of it. And he's like, he sells it. I was like, use this, try this. And I got to say, man, this is some killer sealant. Like, it's not your typical lacquer. It's not your polyurethane. It's something else. I think it's oil based. It goes on, and when you need, if you get scratches into it, you can reapply it, and it auto levels. I haven't had any issues like that, but man, it went on super nice, and it's super hard, super durable. Like, you know, I had really good finishes on the tables at Spro and Hamden, but if you left the water glass on it and the water soaked, it would get that white ring. This, man, never. I've yet to get any kind of rings on it. So if you ever think about doing a counter, you need to seal it. Water locks, man, it's killer. I think it's a bit expensive. I think for one of the little cans, like a quart can, it's like $35, but it does go a long way. But it's hella good, hella good. I don't know why the smoke is kind of lingering, even though the fan is really right above where the camera is. It's really just above it. And, you know, I kind of designed it so that if you sat here, you should be able to suck it away from you. Like last week, I didn't have this trouble. Maybe I need to open the door more. Maybe there's not enough airflow flowing through. Anyway, what's been going on with you guys? Anything happening interesting? I kind of discovered somehow on Netflix this show with Kerry Russell called the Diplomat with Rufus Sewell. It's only 8 episodes, so the season's really short, easy to watch. But man, I thought it was such an enjoyable watch. Like, I ended up binging the last 3 episodes last night. I kind of did it slowly. Like the first night I watched 2 episodes, and then like every night I watched one and one and one and one. And then yesterday I started watching like 8 o'clock. I was like, well, I got plenty of time. I'm just going to continue on. And I thought it was really great. I thought the show was really great. You know, I think it is. I think it really might be the airflow happening. Maybe I should move my ashtray to the other side. Mark says he watched Beef recently. How was Beef? I haven't really. I've seen the title, and I kind of saw that it's some Asian guy and some Asian girl getting some kind of like argument on the street. He must be a road rage and people going crazy, but I haven't really watched it. Worth watching? And Brian says, I mute that show. I had to mute. What show are we talking? We're talking about The Diplomat from on Netflix with Kerry Russell and Rufus Sewell. I thought it was really good. I thought it's worth watching. I was just catching up with the Blacklist today. Ooh, coffee's pretty good. Definitely on the brighter side. And I think you guys have been watching that's been interesting. I've been hitting the YouTube channel pretty hard this week since I came back. Like I've been doing a video release every day because I shot a lot at the trade show. So I've kind of broken them up into like really short videos, maybe just a couple minutes long. And so like tomorrow, the video tomorrow was I found Oatly, oat milk, the Oatly. They were passing out free. Oh, I don't even know what you call them. You call them ice cream bars because they're not ice cream. They're oat milk, right? So oat milk ice cream or oat milk bars, vanilla dipped in chocolate and chocolate dipped in chocolate. Pretty good. Pretty good. The vanilla does have that oat milk flavor to it, which I always think is kind of weird because I don't mind eating like regular milk. So, I don't really do the alternative milk because I'll just have the regular milk, please. So to me, oat milk, it has that oat flavor. So it's kind of strange, but actually the texture and mouthfeel is really quite pleasing. So, it does give you that ice cream bar feel. So it's quite a nice product. So Mark says the beef was pretty good. He liked it. David Cho is in it. Existential. Oh, I'll have to check that out. There's a lot of shows that have been coming out that I'd like to check out. They've been rolling them out so fast. I guess, that's going to stop now that the Writers Guild is on strike. So if you haven't heard, the Writers Guild of America, which is the union that oversees most of the writers for motion picture and television production, have gone on strike because they have not been able to come to an agreement with the AMPTP, which is the Association of Motion Picture Television Producers. And so that's pretty much going to grind most production to a standstill while they try to finish their negotiations. Mark says he likes Oatly in his cortado, but only when he makes it at home. Ah, gotcha. And Brian says Ali Wong is great in beef. I have to try that. I have to check it out. I thought the name was kind of strange, beef. Is it about pho? I don't know. One thing about this cigar, it gets my salivary glands really going. So, I don't know if I told you this last week, but oh no, I must not. I don't think I said this, but so when I was leaving Portland, I took the Uber. So I get in this Uber. This guy's driving. It's about a half an hour drive from my hotel downtown to the airport. We get talking, and he's living in Portland for a little while, working on AI. And I was like, oh, like ChatGPT. And he's like, no, actually, I work on more of like defense AI. And he was like, yeah, we're about 10 years away from robots having AI. And I said, dude, they made movies about this kind of thing. He didn't find that too funny. But then he got a little bit serious. He was like, well, we do program. I am programming, into their systems that they can't hurt humans. And I didn't say this, but I was thinking almost to myself, I was like, they made a movie about that too. So you pair this AI with Boston Dynamics robots, and that could be a problem. Like we have historical documents talking about this. But he was all serious. And he was also one of those guys. He had this he's like, yeah, I'm actually originally from London, but he had no London accent. He had this really neutral English accent. Not really from the United States, not really from London, not really from anywhere. And as we're talking, he's telling me, oh yeah, my contracts take me around the world, so I've lived in all these places. I was like, dude, what are you driving this for? It's like, to get some extra money. Mark says they had a fight. Oh, okay, yeah. No, plus the font I thought was for me, the font was kind of weird. I was like, I don't know. I found the font not to be I think the font kind of turned me off. I was kind of like, oh. And then George says, prepare yourself. Choose a Perdomo 10th anniversary. Oh, getting serious now. Getting serious. As in, I got a beef with this bastard. Oh, gotcha. So I wonder if they well, I'll watch it to find out, but I wonder if they actually, scrap. We are the sex organs of AI. Touche. Yeah, exactly. Skynet. You'd think that the people working on this AI stuff had never they're probably somewhere in our age range, so they would have seen all these things. The Gospel of James Cameron has foretold that AI does not bode well for the human race. And Brian says that he's slinging booze at Towsontown Fest Saturday 3 to 8, Sunday 4 to 6. That's this weekend is Towsontown Fest. Maybe he'll come down. It's probably too far. I asked Bard what he would do if they tried to unplug him. Who's Bard? Do you have an AI also in your house already? Okay. Doesn't have a killer instinct yet. Is Steve with us yet? Steve, if you're out there, let us know. We're already off the rails with AIs. We're dead. Well, that's great. That's really it's really great for your optimism. Thanks, Mark. Thanks. AI needs us to charge the battery. Oh, nice. Oh, Bard. Yeah, I haven't tried Bard. I've only used ChatGPT. I've been using ChatGPT to tell me what to say during this show. AI is your friend. There's nothing to fear. They come in peace. Oh, there he is. Steven. What's going on, Steven? How you doing, man? Good to have you. How's things in Phoenix? In the Matrix, we become the batteries. Again, how do we even know that we're not already in the Matrix and we're not just plugged in? That's what I was thinking. When Matrix came out, I really was wondering about that. I was like, man, could that really be us? Because if we are, man, I would like to break the code so that I could just download massive amounts of knowledge. Like Tai Chi. Just give me the Tai Chi. Iaido, give me the sword fighting technique. I'll be all about that. Oh, Mark's wondering, what's his Bard? Yeah. As Bud mentioned earlier, Bard is actually Google's version of ChatGPT. Actually, I signed up for it when it came out, and I just haven't used it. I totally forget about it during most of the day. Steve smoked tonight's cigar a couple weeks back. Yeah, Steve, how did it go when you smoked this and you couldn't wait for us to come to the show? Tell us about it. Tell us about your experience. We want to know. I mean, it doesn't, I don't think this is burning wonky now that I'm on top of it, right? I mean, I think it's burning well. But, it is a softer cigar, so it's not I started off with soft and some complexity. Oh, I really need to, I think we're past the first third, right? Oh, yeah, we're just passing the first third. Okay. Now, I got to say, fragrance, cold draw. Fragrance was nice. Cold draw was nice. I'm going to say 825. Now, here's the thing, the flavor. I think it started off very good. Complex, soft, melange of flavors, I said. But honestly, very good is kind of where I think we should be with this. So really, 8. I'm going to say the body is kind of light-bodied. I'm going to say it's also very good. So double eights on that, double eights. Steve says that it's a nice evening, cooling off now, good smoking weather. Yeah, nice, nice. Here it's a little bit, it's cool here too. I think as the air's blowing in from the outside through the doorway, I think it's a little tad cool to be outside in t-shirts tonight. Maybe a sweater or a thick hoodie and a beanie, long pants, maybe a fire. That'd be a nice outdoor smoke tonight, here at least. I met a girl yesterday. I was at my aunt's wedding. I'm at aunt's wake. One of my aunts passed away about a month ago, and so finally they had to have, one of our friends of the family kind of aunts. And so they wanted to wait for some relatives to come from the Philippines, like her sister, who, gosh, looks almost exactly like her. I was totally freaked out at the funeral home. I was like, oh, holy smokes. And then I realized it's the sister. I was like, whoa. She looked totally like her. And so one of her daughter is a friend of mine, right? So one of her friends was there that she now lives up in Connecticut, where she's a curator of a museum. She's a curator of musical instruments at a museum for Yale University. So fascinating. I was like totally like fascinated. I think she was, I don't know, I got the feeling that she was like totally unamused with me, right? Like she was totally like, thought that I'm some kind of freak, which I probably am. But like, I was like totally interested. I was like, wow, so you like collect instruments? And like, she's telling me how about the collection and how they collect instruments from like the Baroque era and how they're doing like special programs for that and how she's trying to push them for like more indigenous types of instrumentation and performances. And I was like, oh, that's so fascinating. I'd like to tell you more, but that was really the end of our conversation. Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. Appreciate that. She was really a nice woman, really, really a great woman. Fantastic musician. Her daughter, when we were young, she was like national champion for Irish dancing, the river dance. Like she was a national champion. I was like, whoa. Actually, when we were in high school, we were all like, whoa, you're amazing. We're too afraid to talk to you. So the smoke is kind of, there's good smoke production, good draw. Actually, the draw is really great. Smoke production is really great. There's just something about it that I don't like. Maybe the aroma of the smoke. I don't know. It's not a turnoff or anything. It's not like a negative thing. You do proudly fly your freak rate. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Actually, one of my friends is coming from Maine. She's a girl. When we were young, I was like totally like in love with her. I was like, oh my God, you're like, I'm totally in love with you. Only like about a month or two, I finally told her that. I was totally in love with you back then. She's like, oh, so that kind of, oh, that's so nice. You're such a pet. But she's coming to town to visit her family. So our whole group of friends is getting together tomorrow night for dinner. So I was like, oh awesome. And I was kind of laughing because, our reservation's like at 7:30. Restaurant closes officially at 10. So one of those messaging us today, he was like, they closed at 10. I said, don't worry, dude. I know the owner. I know the staff. We can stay as long as we want. Not a problem. No, she was not a blood. She was one of the family friends, that kind of aunt, And then Steve says the cigar was fantastic for me. Cold draw nice, fragrance nice, Flavor I thought was great. Can't find it here in Arizona. So I tried a signature Medio. Oh, nice. I'm surprised they don't have that there in Phoenix. So on a scale of 1 to 100, what would you give it there, Steve? What would your score be for this cigar based on your experience? So even as the ice is melting and diluting the drink, it's still very flavor forward. Like the orange is still holding up very well. A little bit of uneven burning, as you can see here. I think I'm going to pull this band off because we're getting close to it. Yeah, this is definitely one of those cigars that it really just gets my salivary glands rolling. It's a little bit irritating, honestly, because every time you puff and then salivate, puff, salivate. So have you guys smoked anything really interesting this past week? Honestly, I haven't smoked at all since the last show. There's a couple days in between that I was thinking, oh, maybe I should have a cigar tonight. And I was like, no, I want to edit. So I kept editing. I was editing till 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night. Or just stopping at 8 o'clock and going home. So I'm just going to go home and sit down and chill. This cigar has for me, has this kind of softness on the palate. Like an occlusion kind of softness. It's I feel like there's you know how if you had mucusiness on your tongue that would occlude your ability to taste? I kind of feel something like that. Not really mucus per se, but a very light effect like that. Steve says 85 overall. Oh, 85, man. Look at you, dude. And that he would buy it again. Price point is good value. Oh, but 85. Oh, interesting. I'm very interested in your score there. That's a coffee and cigars kind of score, not a cigar aficionado half wheel kind of score. I would think that if somewhere in that universe of scoring, they would be scoring it's 89. Of course, if we scored at 89, that would be the #1 cigar of the year, which already, based on the 8258 and 8, I don't think we're going to be quite there this time, unless it did some kind of magic and shot up and crazy. Brian says he's drinking vodka from the freezer and shot glasses pulled from the freezer. Oh, I see we inspired you for some drinking here. And you're lit. Now you got to do some limoncello kind of thing, do this kind of fruit cello. It's really quite rewarding. I think this is very rewarding. You freeze vodka and you drink it, but it's I don't know. It's I remember when I was in Moscow in 2008. That's all we did. Drink vodka for 3 nights straight. 2 nights straight. I only lasted 2 nights. Man, it was brutal. It was my friend's birthday. So he invited a whole bunch of his friends from around the world. And we spent a weekend in Moscow. I flew in Friday evening. We went to dinner Friday night, went out partying Friday night. Next day, lunch, Saturday, then dinner, partied again. And that was it. I was I got to stop because this is out of control. I'm out of control here. It's I can't afford to spend any more. I can't afford to be here any longer. Like I poured through some cash, like in less than like not even 48 hours. I was like, oh my God. Excellent, excellent, excellent. I'm looking forward to seeing how we're doing. Tony says, I had more burnishes, so I would probably rate 82.5. All right. So we got 85 and 82.5. So we're going to see how we do today with this. And if Dave Knopf is happening to be smoking or John is smoking this, I'm interested to know what they think as well. Now this is from the series of cigars that I thought we were actually going to get to like in February or March. Then I thought we'd get to in April. It's only May we're now getting to it. And we're not going to finish all of this before May because it looks like I'm going to be heading to Malaysia around the 21st for about 2 weeks. I'm going to be running their Latte Art Championship. So I sent them my itinerary, and I was telling them, hey, in the world of booking airlines, you can, everyone knows about, like, let's say you go to Los Angeles, right? You go to LA, you fly Baltimore, LA, and then LA, Baltimore. And that's a typical round trip ticket, right? You fly to a destination city, you leave from your destination city to come home. There is another alternative of booking called Open Jaw. And what that means is that I could do a Baltimore-Los Angeles trip. So fly Baltimore, Los Angeles, and then fly the return home. But let's say I pick it up from San Diego. So somehow I'll make my way to San Diego, then fly home. And typically the price of that ticket will be similar to the price of a normal round trip. So when I do these Asia trips, or any trips, I'll sometimes ask them, hey, can we book it this way? And so what I was thinking about doing for this trip, I was like, okay, let's go Baltimore, Kuala Lumpur, and then the return, I'd like to do the return Manila, Tokyo, Baltimore. So the return starts in Manila, fly to Manila, hang out in Tokyo for like a couple days, and then fly home. And, they come back. And most people are not really familiar with this open jaw kind of ticketing. I guess it's kind of advanced. It's kind of unusual for most people to be familiar with. So they sent me back a message. They're like, hey, we'd really prefer you. We understand you want to go see this, but we'd prefer that if you did it this way, the normal round trip. I said, okay, I get it. The price of the fare isn't cheap. Right now, airfare is not cheap. I said, hey, I understand what you're saying. And I explained to them, this is what's actually called open jaw. And I sent them the full itineraries of both versions with all the fare codes and everything. And I sent them screenshots that I had gotten based on their preferred round trip from Kuala Lumpur back, and then the itinerary that I originally wanted. And my itinerary is actually $100 less. So I sent that off to them, and it's just morning there now, so they have to look at it and figure out and discuss. I told them, either way, I said, this way will save you money. And, the implications, that it makes me very happy to do that. Or you can spend more money and fly me the way you want. And then eventually I'll probably manipulate that with the airline and do whatever I want to do. So, but even I was surprised that it was cheaper. So hopefully they'll see that, we're going to save a little money. And so we'll just do as you suggest. So we'll find out next week. Mushi. Youngma, how are you, man? Good to see you. Yeah, I really enjoy visiting Tokyo. I thought actually about doing a side trip to Seoul, because one of my friends, since the pandemic started, since the last time I was there, this past year, she opened her own coffee place called Gemisa. And I think I used the coffee in one of her episodes a while back. And I've been seeing her posting from her shop, and I'm like, oh God, it's gorgeous. Like, she's really like amazing kind of coffee person. And it looks like she's built an amazing place. And I was like, maybe I could just go do a day trip to Seoul. So I was looking at flights from Tokyo to Seoul, and it's not cheap. It's like $400. I was like, oh, that's too much. We may have to go back to Asia in November for the to Taipei for a world championship. That's presuming that we haven't gone to war with China over Taiwan. Now, I'm getting a little bit of uneven burning here, right? So it's kind of going out. Well, it feels like it's going to go out. So I think I might have to retouch. So let me do that now. Oh yeah, the fish. I did see that. That's right. On Instagram, that fish breakdown was pretty dope, man. That was dope. Nice work. Nice work. That fish looked pretty sizable. How big was it? All right, that relight hit me with a little bit of cedar, like a little bit of nice sweet cedar. That was kind of pleasant. I'm presuming that was off the coast of New York. Oh yeah, send the link. Drop the link in here. Let me if you drop the link in the description, I will have to log in to the actual control room on YouTube. I'll do that right now. It'll take a few moments, but then I think it won't allow it to publish until I actually release it. So let me. In Jamaica Bay. Okay, gotcha. Brooklyn. Yeah. Okay, good. Awesome. The laptop that I'm using to stream from today is a 2015 laptop, so it's pretty. It does the streaming fine, but once you start to do other functions while it's streaming, it gets a little bit slow to respond. But yeah, if you drop that link to that video so everyone can see it, that'd be great. Almost there. All right, so yeah, if you drop that link, now I'm logged into the stream, so I can see the. If you end up doing it, if you don't do it, well, that's fine. So smoking all right. Again, it does have that softness, that kind of like deadened kind of flavor. Like it's not bright and clear kind of flavors. It's kind of like muted and soft. I'm gonna take this other band off. Just a fillet video, nothing crazy. Yeah, but you know what? The guys would be interested in seeing it. It's a good way to get more viewers. So yeah, if you feel like it, drop the link so everyone else can check it out as well. It'll be kind of fun, I think. I don't think any of us here do fishing. No, one of us does fishing. Scott does fishing, but he's down in Florida right now. I think he's down at Disney? Me, I like the idea of fishing. I just never did a lot of it when I was young. I'm going to do it the other way. I'm going to move this around. So what else has been happening in the world? I just found out that one of the big YouTube conferences called VidCon is actually coming to Baltimore in September. I was like, oh. The main one is actually happens in Anaheim, and that's like a madhouse. And I thought about going to it last year. Happens in June. But I just didn't. I was like, it was between that or Vid Summit in LAX in September. So I decided to go to the one in LAX, which is better because it's a little bit more focused on the actual people, the actual production of YouTube rather than the fandom. Like VidCon is kind of split. So there's the fandom side and then there's the creator side. And the fandom side, from the videos that I've seen, it was madness. There was like everyone's just going crazy. So they do a couple other ones. They do Sao Paulo, they do Mexico City, they do Abu Dhabi. And so this year they added Baltimore. And I was like, oh, Baltimore, that's kind of cool. Let's go check that out. September 29th. I think it'll be at the convention center, so it's kind of a pain in the butt to get there. I thought about staying in a hotel, but I was like, that's just crazy. Yeah, the truth is, that softness of the flavor of the cigar, it's nice. The flavor of the cigar's nice, but I'm just not loving it. Like, I'm not like, I gotta have more. It's good. That's good. That's good too. Maybe some of the things, the flavor that I'm tasting, maybe bread, like white bread. It's kind of soft, not terribly crazy. So what else going on in the world? What's happening in the world this week? Oh, isn't the coronation is this weekend, right? I think that's on Saturday Saturday the 6th, right? So Saturday is the coronation of King Charles. I don't know what you guys think about that. Brian's asking, are you attending my free lunch June 25th, 1 p.m., eat socializely? Ooh. I'm going to have to give you a tentative yes. I am planning to be back around that time, but there is another event that I've committed to, but I don't know the date exactly offhand. I kind of have to attend this one. So let me give you a tentative yes. I saw the post about that. Sounded like a lot of fun. I was like, oh, that sounds really good. So you guys heard about that drone that attacked the Kremlin that was supposed to be trying to kill Putin? Evidently, Moscow is saying that it's the U.S. behind that drone. Could be. They tend to find our way to try to get into different types of wars. We are not officially at war with anyone at the moment, so our defense industry must be hurting. So we've got to use some way to like spend money to support our defense industry. I mean, after 20 years of nonstop war, I mean, how do we stop and how do we really enjoy peace? What else happened in the world? So ex-Proud Boys leader Enrique Tarrio found guilty of seditious conspiracy. Huh. But here's the thing: why they list him as ex-Proud Boys leader? Well, why is he ex-Proud Boys leader? I mean, like, El Chapo goes to jail. Does that mean that he's no longer the leader of the cartel? I mean, they busted him out of jail, right? I don't know. I see news here about a Jordan Neely chokehold death on NYC subway. I don't even know that happened. Someone got killed on the subway in New York City. And the jury found Ed Sheeran did not copy Marvin Gaye's classic music. And I heard some of the I guess the bars of music that they said that he copied. And okay, I get that there's some chord progression similarities, but is that really something you can copyright and protect? I mean, it's like GC. I'm not saying this is it, but let's say you use a chord pattern of GCA. It's like, can you really protect the chord pattern? It's kind of like trying to protect a recipe. I don't know if that's going to be possible. No worries, just filling seats. I gotcha. I like my patrons that don't get caught, so he should be. Oh. Oh, I'm looking here at some headlines. Angel Reese is talking about how frustrating it is with this Caitlin Clark drama. I don't understand. Are these people still talking about Reese and Clark? It's been a month or so, right? It's been a while. Like, they had their thing. They made some gestures. Whatever. Done. It's over. Move on. God, get over it. Yeah, I don't know. Ex-leader. I don't know. I don't understand all this. I'm just spending my time editing here at the studio, trying to understand the cigar. Thinking that maybe next I'll have the Lomo de Cerdo again, because that was truly a great cigar last week. Smoking well. I mean, the burn has been good. It's just not. It just hasn't really moved me. You know, it's been very good. You know who we're missing? We're missing Rusty. I haven't heard from Rusty. It's 9:37. We haven't heard from him at all. Oh, and what's up with all the shootings, man? Every time I turn on YouTube, there's like somebody else got shot. Like people are shooting like crazy right now. I don't get it. Is it just a matter that we've always had this many shootings? They just didn't report it so much, and they're reporting a lot now that we're having shootings, or are we really having a lot more shootings than normal? I think some of these guys have been shooting the, especially when you come to the door, you ring the doorbell, like you just can't shoot people because they're at your door. Like I'm all for the Second Amendment and having a gun, but like if you shoot someone like maliciously like that, you should be charged with capital murder. Like there has to be responsibility for gun ownership. You can't just have it willy-nilly. We're just shooting everybody. My comment was a Trump McCain reference. Ooh, I don't recall that. This Certo was a great. Tried it twice. Good experience. Oh yeah, man. That was. I still think that was. Well, I mean, it is the best cigar so far. So yeah, that was definitely. I gotta say, you know, having that Certo was really, really great. And then we had the. What is it? We had the Corojo 2003, the small one last week after that. And it was good, don't get me wrong, but I think that I don't know how after the Lomo de Cerdo, I don't know what cigar you really could follow that up with. That would really like stand up. Like that was just the Tatuai was awesome. And I just don't feel like smoking the Corojo 2003 really gave it a fair shake. Like it wasn't. I don't think I enjoyed it as much as I would have enjoyed it had I smoked it fresh. Tony says maybe date night for Rusty. Could be. That could be. That could be. Normally he's joined us by 8:30. And Tony also agrees with that. This Certo was great. Oh yeah, Tony was here last week. Of course, yeah, that was really, really fantastic. I don't know if any of you guys tried to find it over this past week. The Lomo de Cerdo. Is there any more out there? I'd be interested. Oh, and Tony, you're supposed to look for that one cigar that we talked that George talked about. I don't recall what cigar that was. What was that? And did you have some at the shop? I mean, I drank quite a bit of this orange cello. Quite a bit of the cube is gone, and the flavor is still very solid. Like this is solid. Oh, Tony's had twice of them. My second was just as good as the first. Oh, nice, nice. And Brian's smoking the LFD. Oh, that's the one we're supposed to look for. The LFD 5 Maduro. Yeah, did you find that, Tony? Like I would be tempted to hit this with some more of the orange jello, but really, the flavor's still so vibrant, even in what is ostensibly diluted. But you know, we have a little bit of time. So this one YouTuber that I kind of know through the grapevine, her channel name is Rhubarb and Cod. She posted a video a few weeks ago called it's a limoncello cake, limoncello mascarpone white chocolate. And I was like, oh, it looks really great. Rhubarb and Cod is the name of the channel if you want to look it up. And I've been planning. So when I saw that, and I was like, oh, I'm going to make it out of orange cello. So I had to wait till I was finished with this. And I was going to make it this week. I just haven't had the time, man. It's just like, there's always something that comes up. Like the other day, on Tuesday, we drove down to Falls Church, Virginia to go look at this coffee roaster. This roaster down there is selling their used one. So that took the whole day. So I just haven't had the time to really. And then today we had the gas replacement. And Tony says, no, we have the Colorado Screw Cabinet number 4, not the Bradure number 5. Oh, okay. We'll have to see if we can find that somewhere else. Unless you're able to bring that in, then maybe just come to you for that. I wonder if we're getting close to the last third. Let's have a look. Almost there, but not quite. A couple more minutes. This is a slow smoking cigar. Like, sometimes I'm sitting here like at 9:30 or even 9:15. I'm like, oh man, can we stretch this cigar out to the end of the 2 hours? This one, I think we're going to go longer. So today, like I said earlier, we had the gas lines replaced here at the building, and BG&E sent one of their contractors, a company called Intech, and Intech is a national company with offices all around the country, like I don't know, maybe like 8 or 9 states, Maryland being one of them. And so I was thinking, I'm going to have to call their offices tomorrow because the crew they sent out today, they were very solid, man, very professional. They worked hard. They did well. Foreman was really good, very communicative. And then, watching them, they all worked well. They took care of everything. And it was really interesting to see the foreman. Like, I always think of foreman as like, directing everyone. But this guy, he's getting in the mix. Like he's jumping in the hole. He's digging the hole. He's running the equipment. He's like, working the crew and showing them how to do things the correct way. Like he was really engaged. That was really nice to see. Like, I don't know. I just find that people that work in crafts and really know their craft and have a master of their craft, like I'm always like, man, that's really nice to see. I'm really impressed by that kind of thing. So I'm planning to give a call to their office tomorrow to give them some accolades. Tony wants to know, did I find any more Roma teas? Yes, we do have, but I think we have 3 more Roma teas down in the studio. I don't know what size they are offhand. I'll have to look tomorrow. And Brian says, does anyone have to figure out how to remove the heart from the iPhone live chat? It's annoying. You mean the heart is on the live chat on YouTube, the YouTube app? I'm not sure how that's done. Let me look at this. Oh, this one you're talking about, right? This one here? Let me look at this. I don't know if you can remove that, right? This one here? Let me look at this. It does come to me later. Like, see this very annoying? That's only appearing on my screen right now. All right, that's weird. I'm gonna turn that off. Turn that off because I can't have that. Just make it all confused. Just send more hearts. Make sure you like the video. I think it helps with engagement with YouTube if people like the videos. So I use a service called StreamYard, as you can see right here. So I use a totally different interface to operate the streams than what YouTube has for their streaming control room. So I don't see some of the things that you guys see while doing the live stream, right? That's kind of why I have to look at. Yeah, it feels like we're going out again. Oh, by the way, I was serious when I sent that message to you guys. Those of you watching from out of state, we have our own little chat group for those of us that live here. But I did send a message to the group that in the building next door to us, my landlord has this room. It's 15 by 25. It's just a plain white room. There's actually no windows. There's 2 doorways on 2 different walls. And I was like, we were looking around the different rooms in the building, and I was like, oh, this is kind of separate from the rest of the building. And I was like, oh, this might be a nice cigar room. So I was serious about that when I put the message out that if you are interested, I figured that it would probably cost about $300 a month total for rent and utilities. So if you really are interested in that, I know that Eric and Jean-Max were like, oh yeah, let's do it. So if anyone else is really interested, it might be kind of a fun project to do. And someplace that we can have 24/7 access, so you can just go in and smoke at any time. I think I'm going to have to light it up again because it feels like it's starting to burn under the wrapper again. So this will be the 4th time I've had to relight to catch it up. No, I don't think that's necessarily a strike against the cigar. It's just a little bit annoying. So coming up next month is Strange New Worlds. The Star Trek series will be returning. And at some point, they're going to bring back the animated series, Lower Decks. And evidently, they're going to do a crossover between Strange New Worlds and Lower Decks as live action. So all of the animated characters from Lower Decks will become live action characters in Strange New World, which should be kind of interesting, I think. Oh, we are definitely past the second third. I forgot to do that. The second third. The body has been consistent. I'm going to say it's still an 8. You know, flavor has not degraded. Like, I haven't really enjoyed it as much, but I can't say that the flavor has deteriorated. So I'm going to have to say that it's still an 8. So double 8s on those. I think we're going to be running close to that. So Bud says, so utilities are included with the rent. Once you run the heat with the door open, she'll flip out. Well, that's what I figured the extra $100 would be for, or the extra 50 or whatever it is. It does have what do you call that? Is it the half thing, half something? You know, the one that has the like the Mitsubishi type unit. It has one of those. I don't know if it's actually. I didn't look closely to see if it was a heated unit. I'm presuming that it is. The previous tenant from several years ago, there was a chocolate shop, and they used that room just for storage. So I don't really know if that if the half split does heat as well. I'm sure it does cooling because that's kind of the design for it. So it may be one of those things we had to put a propane heater in it. Yes, it would be a month-to-month lease. The building is actually for sale for $2 million. So if you want to buy the building, $2 million, great. So it would be month-to-month. But she was like, I asked her, I said, what if we made this into a cigar room? Would you be all right with that? She was like, yeah, if you want to do that, that's fine. You know, she's like, a couple $100. Like, all right, cool. So I figured, you know, $200 for the rent, $100 extra to cover whatever utilities and stuff should be enough, I'm presuming. And the two doorways are kind of like if this is the room, there's a doorway here and a doorway here, bathroom here, and there's no windows. So, and it is a drop ceiling. And so I figured, you know, probably if at the outset, probably just open both doors and get the flow through it. And Bud says, mini split, it's a heat pump, so not great below 40 degrees. What about insurance? Well, if you want to get insurance, I know you're going to want to get insurance. I think your insurance is what, $600 a year? So maybe you add that in there, maybe another $50. But that 300, let's say 350, that's total. That's not per person. That's just the total. So just to clarify. So if we had 10 people, that's $35 per month. So not terrible, I don't think. You know, I know we're always talking about like different, you know, looking for different venues. I thought that might help to solve that question. And then anyone that's a key holder can use it whenever they want. Of course, you know, kind of have to be adults about it. Like if you're going to use it, make sure you take care of it and turn everything off when you're done and make sure it's all clean. Got to do our own leg cleaning. But, you know, the area is pretty secure. Everything's pretty safe around here. So like nobody's coming through the doorway here. Hope not. Actually, I've just bet on the fact that, you know, if something does happen, you guys will be watching and can call the cops. As everything folds on live TV. But yeah, that was a serious offer. That is a serious offer in case anybody wants to try it. We just do the Merry Maids. I like that. Oops. I don't know how much they charge. You know, if you want to paint it and make it clubby looking, bring some chairs in, tables, you know, kind of our like party room. The Sons of Faders Clubhouse. We could all get like our own like leather vests. I just won't get a motorcycle, that's all. Motorcycling days are behind me. Ooh, it's 10 o'clock hour already. This is one of those times when it's like, the cigar is nice. It's very good. But I'm also kind of like, it feels like it's long. It feels like a long cig of smoke. Like I would have been all right if it was over. Will your Wi-Fi reach? You know what? I think it will. I didn't try it, but I'm guessing that it will probably reach a little bit. Because if you remember here at the layout, the roastery building has this grassy spot behind it. And it is the part of the building that is on the other side of the grassy spot. And the actual modem or Wi-Fi hotspot is against that wall. But you know this place really well. So it's pretty close to where the vent blows out. So I would imagine that some part of it would reach. Or we could probably get a repeater and put that in that space and it can feed off of that. So that is a possibility. And Brian thinks we should have chaps, assless chaps only, with Sons of Faders down the side, like, you know, stenciled in, maybe in white. That would be kind of dope. So you have to wear the vest and the chaps when you come in. Announce your presence. Maybe a code word to get in. Give us something to do with the fader signs. Tony says, I believe that's called a cut. We're not talking, well, maybe you're not talking about assless chaps. I'm talking about assless. The question is, will you wear it as assless or will you wear jeans with it? Maybe those that wear the assless gets free membership. But the moment you don't wear the assless, you got to pay. Let's think about it. There's no rush on it. We can do it. We can really do this at any time. You know, there have been a couple lookers that have come through the building to look at the facilities to see. But, you know, at $2 million, I don't know if anyone's really going to bite on that. Jeans, no jeans, depends on fabric, on chair and fabric color. Oh, yeah, that's true. We could probably get our neighbor, the upholsterer, to do any kind of upholstery on the chairs that you want. So options abound. Options abound. The Cafe Estelar is still nice, bright. Maybe a little bit of like mango kind of flavor at the moment. Huh. That's interesting. Yeah, the flavor, the experience hasn't diverted. It hasn't diverged. It hasn't changed. It's just been consistent. It's been very consistent. But that consistency also means that it's like I said a few moments ago, I'm at a point where I'm longing for this to end. Like, all right, I would like to do another cigar, something else. Not that I'm going to do another cigar now, but I'm at that point. Still that kind of like soft flavor to it. The Cafe Estelar is an unusual bag for whole coffee beans. Well, actually, this kind of upright, like these are what they call kind of standing bags, right? So they have this open bottom, so you can stand them up like this. This has actually become quite popular within coffee over the last, I'd say, 7 years. So a lot of people are using this as opposed to the regular bag. Actually, it was interesting. I was listening to a podcast just yesterday talking about this guy. I don't know if you've seen him. There's this guy that does the deep fake Tom Cruise, and he was on a podcast by a YouTube channel called Colin and Samir, and I listen to him quite regularly. And this guy was talking about how he started a coffee company called Bixby Coffee, and he started doing white labeling for this YouTuber by the name of Emma Chamberlain. And Emma's like really, really popular YouTuber, and her coffee has exploded amongst her fan base. And he was talking about how it made a really interesting comment that, I'd always kind of had in the back of my mind. He was talking about how everyone puts them in brown paper bags. And it's something that I've always kind of thought, how do we get away from brown paper? That everybody looks the same. And I thought he was right. I was like, everyone does look the same. How do you really stand out if everybody looks the same? And the thing with Emma Chamberlain's coffee, they've gone with all different types of packaging, colorful packaging, pastel colors, interesting stuff that really, kind of goes with her brand and is really divergent from most of what the coffee industry uses today in the United States. So it's interesting. It's for me personally, it's still not like as awesome as I would like to see it. But, even though I say that, I still haven't come with any clear thoughts on what really would make awesome packaging. But this is cute. This is nice. Oh, yeah, the Ziploc is nice. That is a really nice feature. It allows you to just kind of open and close. Yeah, that's really nice. When it first started coming out, they had these type of Ziploc enclosures. Some of the other ones from Asia actually have the Ziploc here. Oops, here. And I would cut the top and be like, oh, there's a Ziploc, darn it. And I have to go and get the heat seal or reseal it so that I could use the Ziploc correctly. But it is a nice feature, I gotta say. Well, this has gone out. All right, one more relight. This is kind of one of those times when, my feeling with this is that my feeling is that, what was I just thinking? Oh, this is one of those moments where it's like, how you got a cigar and you're smoking it. You've kind of lost your enthusiasm for it. And you're just kind of like smoking it because you spent so much money on it that you want to, utilize it and get as much get your money's worth out of it. That's kind of where I feel that we are at the moment, especially the latter part of this last third. It's like I'm just trying to get through it. But if it goes out again, then that's going to be it. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Skip Martin from Romacraft has been posting about their new Volstead in Temperance Volstead. They did a release on Cigar Authority like last week, and Cigar Authority had a package. Two Guys Cigars had a package of, I think, 10 of the Volsteads and then another 10 of other Romacraft cigars for $160. They look pretty good. But Romacraft did a really good fake a couple weeks ago that they posted. Sean Coleman on his Facebook posted this picture of a Romacraft ball cap, flat bill ball cap, olive green with black stitching of their cross logo. And he was like, we're selling this now for $44. And some people were like, oh my God, $44 for a cap. Even I was like, whoa, $44, that's crazy. I was like, I got plenty of Romacraft caps. The last thing I need is another one. So I abstained from ordering that. And then the guys who did order it, it was a limited run and it sold out pretty fast. Then the guys, when they received the hat, they posted what they received. And so it was $44 for this cap. But they gave you a 6-pack or 5-pack of cigars, a bunch of other stuff. I think they gave a bottle of wine. Like they gave a lot of stuff. I was like, oh man, maybe I should have bought another hat. Ryan says, I just bought a box of Tatuai Black Label. Good, but not the great I remember. May have to open a box from several years back. Yeah, Tony was saying last week on the show that he loves the Black Label, and I think I'm sure they're still pretty solid, but I remember that first original release of the Belicoso that came in the melamine jar. Like, that was just killer. And the other ones I've had from that time were also very, very solid. But, I can't imagine that, that original cigar that came out, 7 years ago or whatever it was, it's kind of difficult to imagine that they've been able to recreate that experience consistently every year. I mean, that is a difficult order. I actually still have one of those melamines at home, unopened. I've been very reluctant to break into it, mainly because if I break into it, then I'll probably enjoy it like I have in the past, and then blow through them, and then now we're out. But then that's the thing. It's like, why are we keeping cigars if we're not going to smoke them? That's always the pertinent question, I think, when you keep cigars. It's like you keep cigars because you love them, because they're really great. But then you don't smoke them because you don't want to run out of them. So you end up with all these cigars, and it's like, how much more lifetime do I have left to smoke these cigars? I still think the smartest person of us all in cigar world is Scott. That guy doesn't keep many cigars. He smokes all of his stuff, and then he just gets more. That's probably the most cost-efficient and smart way to approach cigar smoking. At least I think. 216 was the original release, correct? Oh, yes, okay. It was 7 years ago. I just kind of pulled that out of my head on that one. I wasn't really thinking too hard. I just kind of made a big guess on that. But yeah, that was a good release. That was a really great release. I don't know if I smoked too many of the Black Labels in the other sizes. because I like that Belicoso so much. I think that Belicoso gave so much good flavor. That and was it their 10th anniversary cigar? The one with the brown label on it, the one with that came out with the one size called the Bon Chasseur. Man, I thought that was really a great cigar. The Bon Chasseur was super delicious. And Brian says, I think I have 2 jars in the collection. Oh, nice. You should bust open one and then let me try one. I will help you with quality control and evaluation. All right, let's get rid of this. Oh, that's super still nice. Next time you guys come over to the roastery, I'll have some for you guys to try. That's really quite pleasant. The Private Reserve, which is a nipple-ended Corona Gorda, is still great. Oh, nice. Oh, was the nipple one Corona Gorda? I thought it was the Belicoso was the nipple one. You're probably right. I think we can give an evaluation for the last third finally. You know, like I said, it hasn't degraded in its actual flavor. So I'm going to say these are also that the burn has kind of like, you know, it's kind of died down a little bit. The draw has been good. I guess I'm going to say that's still very good. Consistency has been very good. It hasn't been like amazing, like, and then overall, I guess, you know, looking at these numbers, we're going to say overall 8. So, gosh, really just kind of 8 across the board. Oh, yeah, man. Come on over. We're happy to tell you to try it. The Corona Gorda is the one. All right, let's do this. Let's do this now. We got 8.25 plus 16 plus 32 plus 16 plus 8, 80.25. Now, how does that play in our now that turns out to be lower than what Stephen and Tony put down. Stephen put 85. Tony put 82.5, and we've got 82.5 for cigar number 14 of the year. Oh, interesting. So not bad. Not bad. Not bad in the overall scheme of things. Perhaps not the greatest. But that's where we are today. And this thing has gone out in the time that I was calculating that it's gone out. So we're just going to let it go. That's enough of that. All right. So I guess that's going to be it for today. Thank you very much for tuning in as always. We're back again next week with another cigar from our collection. I don't recall what that is offhand, but I'll make sure to put the streaming notice up hopefully tomorrow. But yeah, good cigar. 82.5. That's still a very solid smoke. Just not as good as you guys said. So hopefully other ones are. Everybody else will have better experiences. But let's have a little more of our orangello. That's it. Good orangello. Good mango now that it's totally been cooled down from the Chiapas APG Natural from Cafe Estelar in Mexico City. Thank you, Sylvia, for that. And all right, so that's pretty much for this week. Thank you very much for tuning in. Mom, good to have you. Brian, Tony, Steve, Bud, everybody, have a great week. See you guys soon. And if not sooner, then next Thursday, we'll be back again, 8 p.m. So until that time, have a great one, and see you next time.